introduce you to Stephen Walker. He is a judicial candidate running for the Court of Appeals. Now, Stephen, we would love for you to address a question that we get a lot, and that has to do with your lack of experience on the bench. Tell us why we should vote for you.
Well, I'll start off and say I may be young, but I sure am conservative. So it's good to be good.
That's all you need.
That's all I need? That sounds good to me. Well, let me tell you something. You can do something, let's say you practice law for 30 years, and you might do traffic tickets, you might do misdemeanor criminal cases, and you do those for 25, 30 years. And then you go on the Court of Appeals, and then you get a real estate case. And you have no idea what you're doing with the real estate case. Well, my experience is much broader than that. For the last 5 years, I've clerked for Justice Edward Thomas Brady on the Supreme Court of North Carolina. Basically, what I do every day is read the decisions of the Court of Appeals, the very court that I want to go sit on, and then make recommendations to the state's highest court of what should happen to those cases. I've helped out in right about 800 of those. So I've gone all the way from traffic tickets all the way up to $3 million land deals, $10 million land deals, all the way in redistricting questions, all the way to the death penalty. So I've got a broad experience, and what you need on the Court of Appeals is people with broad experience, because all kinds of different cases come up there. You don't really need an expert in one thing. You need a jack of all trades, and I'm a jack of all trades. Something that's interesting is I always get people say, you know, experience, experience, experience. Well, let me share something interesting that happened with you. The North Carolina Supreme Court just last week upheld the satellite-based monitoring of some of the vilest sex offenders in North Carolina. They said we want to make sure that they don't go around and go around to kids and hang out at daycare centers and things like that, so we could track them with a GPS satellite. And this is not just your ordinary sex offender, not that that's any good, but these are the worst of the worst. Well, when that case was in the Court of Appeals, only one judge on the Court of Appeals found that unconstitutional, and that was my opponent. He says that it's unconstitutional to try to protect our children by monitoring the vilest sex offenders that we have. That's not conservative. That's not conservative at all, and I think we could all agree on that. Also, I saw a sign up there. Saw a sign, a little boy with a yellow shirt on had a sign that says U.S. Constitution, read it. That's me, I'll read it. I read it all the time. I follow it. I believe the law means what it says, and it says what it means, not what a judge wishes that it said. We do not need activist judges. We do not need activist justices like the one in California that just on their own made military policy. That's not the role of the courts to do. That's not the role of the courts. We need to decide the cases that come before us based on the law and the facts of the case, and I promise you that is what I will do. Let me share one last thing with you, and then my time will be up, I'm sure. I had a volunteer working polls today over in Henderson County, North Carolina, and a guy kind of on his own, but he was a Democrat, came out there, and he had some sample ballots as well. And she said, "Oh, do you mind if I look at what you're putting down on your sample ballot?" And he said, "Sure." Well, she looked at my race, and they had my opponent marked down, Rick Elmore. They had him marked down, and she said, "Well, why do you have him on there? He's a Republican. You know, there's 2 Republicans in that race. Why did you pick a Republican?" They said, "Well, he might be a Republican, but he's a liberal, so we're going to vote for him." So I think that tells you all you need to know. I appreciate all your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Stephen Walker, Court of Appeals. Vote for him if you haven't already.